Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our daily devotional from the South Freeport Congregational Church. My name is Jeremy Young, and it's my pleasure to be bringing you the devotional today. Well, in today's devotional, I'm going to do this unedited. There are going to be no breaks, no skips, no starting over and re-recording. Reverend Sally and I thought it would be great to just outline for you exactly what it takes to put together our video services each week. And so I think you may be surprised at how much time really goes into building our 50-minute service that you watch on Sunday mornings. So, where does it all begin? Well, it really begins with Reverend Sally and I, whoever are preaching, we have an order of worship. And as you can see, there's a lot of things as you follow along in the service that go into it. And it takes a lot of time and a lot of planning. I would say, at least for me, that it all begins by considering the text, by finding the scripture and identifying what the message is going to be each week. And so from there, we begin building the rest of the service. And so it starts with the meditation and opening prayer. So we will go and we will have to identify texts that we can use, as well as writing the opening prayer. You know, one of the things that we have to be very careful about is making sure that we pull those resources from sites on the internet or other tools where we are not infringing upon any copyrights. Now, one of the things that I want to point out right here is just then you may have noticed that I sort of lost my way and stumbled on my words. And if I were actually recording a sermon, I would have stopped and started to record all over again. And there are times in the process of recording the sermon where I can get 10 minutes into it and I feel like I've really stumbled, and I will stop and start back over. And so there's a lot that goes into it, and wanting to make sure that what we're bringing to you is as the best quality that we can get. So we've identified the text, we've identified the meditation and the opening prayer, and then we start reaching out to people to ask people to be readers, excuse me, as well as reaching out to David and Dennis to find out if they have particular anthems that they would like to do and record for the service. So the emails and the phone calls begin. We reach out to people, we ask if you would like to be a reader. Now, the great thing about all of you as a congregation is that we have a number of people that have said we'd love to be a reader, and so we thank you very much for that. So we start going through that list to see who would like to be a reader. So we email out, which includes typing up the meditation, the prayer. We send that over to people. We let them know, how we would like them to record it. And one of the things that we found along the way is that using an iPhone is best. The iPhone will allow us to record large files and then email those files, and it goes into a box in the cloud, if you will, that allows M. Pierce, who builds our videos, to then pull those down easily. If you try to attach a file in an email, it's too big. Even over 30 seconds can be too big, and it just will not attach, or if you do get it to attach, it will not send. So iPhone or an iPad, we have found, is the very best when it comes to recording. We also reach out and we have somebody to do the children's message, which includes video recording as well. And so you see the video recordings, like last week with mine. I had 3 different segments just because I felt that it flowed a little bit better. And so M was able to piece that together into one cohesive piece for me. We also have people that will do the scripture readings, and sometimes we will ask for specific texts, whether it be, rarely do we ever use the King James Version, but I personally am a big fan of the New International Version. Some people like the Good News Bible, and so depending on the text, Reverend Sally or I may choose to use a different reading if it fits better with the service that we're wanting to do. And then once we start and have all the other people that are doing their parts, recording it and getting that ready to come back to us to get to M, we start recording the actual reflection or the sermon. And that is where it can get tricky. At least for me, my goal is to have clear, coherent thoughts where I don't stumble upon the words, but also finding a balance where I'm giving a service, but I'm not reading it word for word. The last thing that I want you to do is to see me just reading with an occasional glance at the camera. That comes with a lot of memorization. And so I do my best to memorize the service, but still there are points where I may stumble and trip. And so if I'm finding myself doing that a lot, I will stop and I will re-record, Or sometimes when I'm here in the guest room recording, Otis may bark in the background, which means I've got to stop again. I live next to the railroad tracks, so sometimes a train goes by. You can hear that background noise, so I have to stop and start recording again. So there are all these little things along the way that creates challenges to recording a quality sermon. And so Reverend Sally and I strive for that week after week. And sometimes along the way, after you've attempted to record 4 or 5 times, you just reach a point where it's like, okay, what's the best one that I can use? Of these that I have recorded, let's pick the best one. And so then we have that saved and we're ready to go, and we get those files sent over to M as well. Now, when we ask you to do a part in the service, we ask people to have those files to M by 5 p.m. on a Friday. And we do that because she needs a few hours on Saturday, as much as 3 to 4 hours, to actually build the sermon or to build the service itself. And so we ask people to have those files to her by 5 p.m. on Friday so that she has ample amount of time. We also want to be respectful of them because she's 15. And at 15, she wants to be able to go and do all those things that you and I did as teenagers on the weekends with friends, and whether it's going out of town or whatever it may be. So sometimes she builds the services on Friday evenings. The reason I tell you all that is that sometimes I know that recently there were some prayer requests that had been sent in after I had already recorded, I'd already recorded the prayers of concern. And so that is why sometimes the prayers are left out. Another thing for me is the fact that I'm still working a 40 to 50 hour work week. So I have to record and get everything done by Friday at 5 p.m. to get that over to her. And generally, because of that, I record most of my stuff on Thursdays. And that's because in my day job, I have a lot of conference calls that occur on Friday for the end of the week. So it's all about finding slots of time throughout the day on Thursday where I can go and I can record these brief segments in between emails, in between conference calls, or in between just general work stuff that I have to do. And then we also have to record the prayers for the church and the world. And by the time you think about all of these components, no exaggeration, it takes about 2 days of work to build a 45 to 50-minute service that you see on Sunday morning. Again, there was another trip of my words. I would have stopped and started re-recording the whole thing all over again. So you may think that the video is quite easy to do, but it comes with a lot of pressure. And I know for me, as I watch the videos again, that I'm like, oh, I could have done that better. I could have done that better. It is an opportunity for me to see the flaws in my work, and that's what makes it harder because I want to do all of you a great service. Sally and I both want to give the best quality that we can, and it's a little nerve-wracking along the way. So between everything that we do in typing, writing, getting pieces to the various people for Sunday, between following up to make sure those videos come in, making sure sometimes there are problems with video files, where even though we've recorded it and sent it to M, for whatever reason, there is a technology glitch, the file won't download, we have to go back sometimes on Saturday morning and resend those files to M to put together. Additionally, think about the music. Right now, once again, we have to be careful with choosing the hymns from a site that will not get us into any situations with copyright infringement. So sometimes the music, I know that I've done this, where they're great, great hymns, but the music where we go to download, sometimes it just feels a little bit drudgery, and I apologize for that. But again, we have to make sure that we are in copyright compliance. So again, over several days, several emails, several video recordings, several attempts to video, and then starting back over. Ultimately, all of this material goes over to M. She begins compiling it, which again can take her 3 to 4 hours. And so by the time it's all done, on Sunday morning, you have a service that has taken about 2 to 2.5 days to put together. So we thought that it might be educational for all of you to understand what it takes to put these services together right now. And we thank you for your forgiveness if along the way we trip, we stumble, maybe something doesn't flow just right. Just know that we continue to learn and we continue to try to do the best job that we can, because remember, We're pastors, not producers. And I will say thank God for M. Pierce, who has shared her incredible talent with all of us to make sure we look as best we can. We miss you all so very much. We hope that you're doing well, enjoying the summer, enjoying the beauty of it, and we can't wait to see you at some point in the near future. You were thought about, you were loved, and you are missed. God bless you all.